Whoop, there it is.
Does your son... This is a weird question. Riley laughs like a chimp. Like he laughs like a chimpanzee.
Okay.
Like he'll do something and then he'll go... He does like that dry, like Planet of the Apes laughing.
Yeah. Like Bad Ape.
Yeah.
It's a little bit also like Crispin Glover's laugh in Back to the Future.
Yeah.
That's funny. No, my son does not do that, but
does he laugh like a sapien?
Yeah. He's pretty evolved, that guy.
Hey everybody!
How's that for pre-show chatter?
Yeah, welcome to the podcast. Dustin and I are two humans, two sapiens, coming here bringing you this show.
Yeah.
Yep. No chimp laughter. No poop throwing. No bananas.
Not usual.
Not on camera.
We throw poop at the movies real bad.
God, I gotta tell you, man, one of these movies, that someone brought their toddler age kids, like their 3-year-olds.
Now, why?
Oh, it's just horrible, man. It was just like, I can't remember which one it was. I think it was Megan, and they're just like making, you know, the whole time, and I'm just like, for a while, I could not figure out where it was coming from. I thought someone had like a baby.
Sure.
And it was like, it kept changing where it was in the theater. And I'm guessing it's because the kids were running so much. Anyway, it was
sure.
What a great thing to do.
So my wife showed me this. There is a theater. I don't know where this is, but it was like making the rounds on TikTok or whatever. Oh, it's a movie theater. It's a typical movie theater, but the whole front, you know, like those seats that nobody really wants to sit in because they're too close.
That's where they were.
Okay. So they had removed in this TikTok video, they had removed all those seats and put a playground in so kids could play while parents watch the film and the lights stay up.
Oh.
And I was like, you know, look, on one hand, I see the merit. A parent gets to enjoy what they want while the child stays occupied.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, ain't nobody enjoying a movie in that space.
No.
Not a soul.
I'm so like, I don't like this whole movement of like, well, let's meet the audience where they are, you know? And it's like, no, like to an extent, like feed them, sure. Like offer them food. That's the start, you know, let them drink beer. That's, you know, another, but like, let's build a playground so they can bring their kids. And it's like, well, that just defeats the whole purpose.
Yeah. It's a little bit like putting a porta potty in the Louvre. Like, why would you do this?
Yeah, to me, I was thinking about this. Like, I should have been thinking about it during the movie, but I was like, you know, this is just one of those things that you just give up when you have kids. You have to either accept that you are not going anywhere.
Yeah. Or
you need to accept that you need to find a babysitter.
Yeah. You have to either make provisions or don't.
Yeah.
But
you don't just get to like people complain about kids on airplanes, but it's like, well, that's different. Like the kids are traveling, like they're going with them.
The kids have to go with you. I mean, presumably.
Usually. It's like, that's a different thing, but this is like pure entertainment. This is not necessity. This is, I want to see this movie and I don't feel like spending any more than the ticket price to go there. I'm going to bring my kids because fuck everybody else in here. And I don't care. They can experience the movie the same way I have to. And it's like, you know, you could just wait and rent it.
Yeah. Yep.
I understand. Maybe you love going to the movies.
Don't want to get spoiled.
But
sure.
One thing, it's like, it's not even a break from your kid because your kid's coming with you. Like, oh, go to the movies. It's a night out. Well, if you bring your kid with you, it's not a break. You're just paying to watch a movie somewhere else and you're bothering other people.
Correct.
Just wait to rent it. Or if they had like, you know, our fun little day and date VOD model with like the upcharge for seeing it at home, It's like you could pay a babysitter and go see Megan, and that would cost you 40-ish bucks maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. 40 to 60 bucks. Yeah, sure.
Or you could stay at home, wait till your kid's in bed, rent Megan at home for $35, make all the noise you want.
That's right.
It's your house.
Yes.
That's the privilege you get. It's like,
yep.
This is another reason. It's like we should be building playgrounds. Like it's kind of like how everyone's thing is like, just give us healthcare.
Yeah.
Like to me, it's like, just give us VOD. If you're going to put resources into building a fucking playground in a movie theater, just no thanks. Let's save that money. Let's get VOD to happen, and we can stop this whole farce. This whole thing. We don't need the audience that bad, do we? Are we that desperate?
Well, the problem with it is you're fundamentally making the experience of all of those things worse.
Yes.
Do you think a child's actually going to have fun? Like, so obviously the TikTok video showed pre-show, right? Yeah. It's like all of the pre-show stuff and like the kids are playing and whatever. Sure. And like you can tell the volume's down.
Yeah.
But like when the movie starts, I assume you're playing this at a fairly loud volume.
Yeah.
The kids aren't going to have fun playing when they're competing with, freaking Fast X on screen.
Well, and imagine too, like if it were my kids, they'd be running up to me.
Sure.
Every 60 seconds.
Yeah.
Wherever my seat is. Let's assume this is a packed theater. I'm in the dead center. My kids are, oh, excuse me, pardon me. Daddy. They can't get to me. Daddy, he took but I had a friend. Like, it's not like the kids are like in a hermetically sealed, like playground with caregivers that are there to solve disputes or prevent injuries. Who do you think? Not
only that, and now you also have to consider, like, is this film appropriate for my child to see?
Yeah.
Right.
That was another thing. I was like, hey, this is like scary robot killing and.
Okay. Child, go play on the playground. Meanwhile, Saltburn is playing behind you. Like, that makes no sense.
I thought you were going to say Saw.
Sure. Saw too. Why not?
Yeah. It's a horrible idea. I hope that doesn't, golly, I hope that doesn't become a thing.
Yeah, no, I don't see that ever going anywhere.
These last couple of trips to the movies for me, like I've been a lot more this summer than I have lately.
Yeah.
And for the most part, it's been fine. But every now and then, like something happens and I'm like, this is still a problem. Like there's something.
I like when I saw F1, it was a pretty good experience. Like everybody was pretty, like, I don't know, polite and, well-mannered, even-tempered, but like that's not always the case.
No.
And I forget which one it was I saw. It was a couple of years ago, but there was one movie. I don't remember. The big one that comes to mind was like way back when Spider-Man 3, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3 came out.
Oh.
Where I legitimately felt unsafe in the theater.
Oh.
When I saw it.
Yeah.
And it's happened. It's only happened a couple of times, but like with that one, I was sitting next to this dude. It was a midnight screening. I don't know if I ever told you this story, probably, but Spider-Man 3 came out we were 07?
07, yeah.
Okay. So I saw it midnight release and or I guess it was like, at 10 p.m. or whatever it is that, they were doing at the time.
Yeah.
And anyway, I saw it and it was me and my dad and beside me was this dude who was probably like 25 ish, and he was clearly drunk. And at one point in the movie, during the movie, he leaned over to me and goes, "You ever see a switchblade?" And I was like, "What?" And he pulls out a knife and just goes shink, and I kid you not, he like shink, and it comes up and it's like inches from my chest,
your body.
And I was like, cool. And he was like, yeah. And he just put it away and never talked to me again throughout the whole thing. And my dad was just like shocked, like, what just happened? And like he missed the first part of it and just saw a knife drawn on me.
Yeah.
And it was taken away within like milliseconds. So there was no time to act. But like it literally, like he took it away, put it away, and then never looked at me again. And I'm like, what a weirdo. But that was the only time where I was like, am I safe next to this man?
Yeah.
But like, yeah, so that can happen too. And you're like, why are we here? Why are we doing this?
By the way,
man should have been background checked.
The first that there's no good end to that sentence. The guy leans into you, goes, "You ever seen a?" It's like it could be anything. Like
it could be anything, and none of it's good.
Yeah, it's all bad.
And it's like, you ever seen
a miracle?
You ever see $1 million?
Yeah.
You
ever see $1 million with your name on it?
Hey, he could have also just said, "Did you ever see a switchblade?" And I'm expecting the knife, but he's like, "It's the film. It was a great film." Billy Bob Thornton. Why are we talking about this right now?
But then he stabs you with the DVD box.
With the DVD, he breaks the disc in half. And
I think I've told all of my theater stories on this show at one point or another. That there was the fireworks during Hulk in 2003.
Oh yeah.
There was the drunk people during Logan that ruined the ending of that movie. Mm-hmm. I've had a few scraps of my own, but it was just like for F1, like there was just people, like the people, of course, like it was sparsely attended, and there's like 4 people that show up and they sit like 2 rows in front of me, and it's 2 guys and 2 girls, and the 2 girls are on the right. And of course they're talking a lot throughout like the whole pre-show. And then once the lights go down, one of the guys was like, "Hey, shut up. Like, have some respect, Yeah. And they were like, okay. And so every time like something would happen, they'd go to like some crowd shot or something. I don't know if they legitimately saw something or if they were just like doing some thing, but they kept like doing the Leo DiCaprio point, like, but like hands way up, like obscuring the screen. And I was like, oh my God, like what is y'all's problem?
Yep.
Yeah.
There was one of my least favorite things is when you get the comedian in the audience. And I remember when I saw Spider-Man 2, I think that I still have, that has my record for seeing it the most times in theaters. I think I saw it 4 times. And so I think it probably was the 4th time I saw it. I was in there and there's a dude who was just like the whole time, like, being, hilarious about everything. And like the one I remember is at the very end when Mary Jane runs out on her wedding and she shows up in Peter's doorway and he just goes, "Oh yeah," really loud. And I was just like, that's not even funny. That's not even a joke.
That's what I'm talking about.
But it's stuff like that where like, I think I'm really funny and I'm like, that's not funny.
I'm enhancing everyone's experience. I'm God's gift to this audience.
Yes. There's that Seinfeld episode where George goes, "That's gotta hurt," and everyone gets mad at him, but he thinks he's told a really funny joke. And it's that same sort of thing. "Oh yeah.
Oh yeah."
So oh yeah, I still think about that when I see that movie. Oh yeah, not every time, but sometimes I think about it. Oh yeah.
We're gonna talk about Megan today. Megan Mthregan 2.0. Mthregan 2.0. Well, what kind of accent that was? 2.Z. All right. Well, let's get into this thing.
Mrs. Forrester, we have a problem. We're hunting an autonomous android named Amelia. She was built using your design for Megan.
How's this possible? You deleted it.
Apparently you didn't. Nothing in our arsenal can stop her. She's gone rogue, killing anyone who's contributed to her creation.
I think I did it again.
And you and Katie are next.
I know how to stop Amelia. She's getting more powerful. Soon she'll be the most dangerous weapon on the planet. Put me in a body and I'll help you stop her.
You remember what happened last time. You threatened to rip out my tongue and put me in a wheelchair.
I was upset.
Look, she wants to help us. Everyone deserves a second chance.
You would like us to rebuild a deranged robot in order to catch another one.
Would you prefer I gave you a printout that you can read at your own pace?
Okay, Megan, time to give you an upgrade. Anything you'd like to add?
I want to be stronger, faster. Hey, so remember the time I strangled you and set the lab on fire? I want you to know. That won't happen again.
Thank you so much.
And while you're at it, make me taller. All right, meat sacks. Let's get to work.
Well, look who came out to play.
I was programmed to protect Katie. The only question is, are you going to stand in my way? Hold on to your vaginas.
I don't care if she did kill 4 people. She is a smoking hot warrior princess.
I'll make you a deal. You can kill Gemma, but don't touch Katie.
Megan.
All right, Megan 2.0 is the sequel to the first Megan film, the 2022 one, the one that I saw at home. I saw it on Peacock, and as soon as I finished it, and I was like, whoa, I wish I'd seen this in theaters. This was fun.
Sure.
And so, and then we found out they're making sequels, and everyone's back. Gerard Johnstone is back as the director, and he has sole credit on the screenplay this time, and story by credit as well, I guess, with the original co-writer, Akilah Cooper.
This is an aside, but doesn't that name, Gerard Johnstone, sound like a Flintstones name?
We've talked about this person's name. I believe we did it in the first Megan review, but you didn't say the Flintstones joke. But I remember specifically one of us was like, that's a strange name.
I saw it directed by Gerard Johnstone, and I just I should have been that guy in the theater. I was just going to go, yabba jabba doo. Hey, Barn.
He did it on his weekends when he wasn't working for Mr. Slate. So yeah, this is a there's a produced by Jason by this is a Blumhouse film. So Jason Blum, James Wan is a producer on this. Allison Williams actually a producer on this, which is interesting. Once again, starring Allison Williams as Gemma, the main character. There's Violet McGraw as Katie, her niece, back from the first movie. And then of course we've got the same 2 people that portray Megan, Amy McDonald, the actual dancer and actress who's portrays her on screen, and then Jenna Davis, who is the voice. And newcomer here is Ivana Sakno. People will recognize her perhaps from most notably from Ahsoka. She is in that show, and that's where I first saw her. And I like Ivana Sakno. She's got this crazy mixture. She's like a Elizabeth Olsen clone. Oh, okay. Like a tiny Elizabeth Olsen clone. And then she was also in Pacific Rim Uprising. People may know her for that, but she's a relative newcomer. I think there was a Hozier music video too that she was in. Anyways, if you Google this woman, you may have seen her before somewhere. But anyways, she is the antagonist in this movie. She is this other humanoid robot, Amelia, that is supposedly a rogue AI, controlled by a rogue AI. And so we've got to stop her, and that involves getting Megan involved, and that's the setup. I'm not going to tell you the story setup or whatever. That's the movie's job.
Sure.
All right. So I went into this with higher expectations than I did with Megan. I was just told that Megan was good and I should watch it, and I watched it and I was like, thank you, whoever that was.
Yeah.
But it's exactly what I want from this franchise. I wanted silly sci-fi action. And I got it. And that's really my whole review. I can't even review the movie. It's just a good time. There's no nuance to this movie. There's nothing clever about it other than just a simple premise executed to satisfaction. And it features the most hilarious delivery of the line, "What the fuck is this?" that I've ever seen on film, I think. Sure. It's just a good time. I mean, I was gonna wait on this. I was gonna watch it, but I wasn't gonna go to the theaters to see it. And I think I may have even said this on the show. I was waiting for Ballerina to start, and I saw the trailer for this, and I was like, I have to see this. This is a must watch. And so I put it on my calendar right there in the theater. to check it out. So I did the thing. I watched the trailer and I almost immediately booked tickets. So marketing totally worked on me to get me to this. I'll give you the example for F1 whenever we talk about that movie, but
okay.
Similar story where I wasn't gonna watch it in the theaters, and then something happened and I was suddenly all in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really what all I'm going to say about Megan 2.0. If you liked the first Megan, you should definitely go see this. It was a good time in the theater for me, even though there was kids running around, and
sure,
it was good that it wasn't a movie that I had to take super seriously. Otherwise, I would have raised some hell.
So my experience with this is like with the first Megan, I was lukewarm. Like I thought it was fine, but it didn't. Nothing really to write home about. I vaguely I remember the big things, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Dog, the boy in the woods. I remember the big things. I don't really remember much else. Mm-hmm. So when I went in to this, I definitely needed the refresher. Mm-hmm. And so I pulled up like a YouTube video, Megan in 3 minutes or whatever. Yeah. I was like, oh, thank you. Thank the Lord that this exists.
I used to show those to my mom between showing her Marvel movies just to remember where we were.
Yep. That's a good
helpful.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, cool. I'm in it. Great. And with Megan 2.0, I was disappointed. So I mean, we don't have to draw too much of this out, but for me, I'm not against the idea of this remaining a horror franchise. I'm also not against the idea of this changing and pivoting into more of an action movie franchise.
This was kind of the Aliens to the first film's Alien.
Yeah, and it's kind of Terminator 2 to Terminator.
Yeah.
Like there, you can draw a lot of examples out of it, and it's fine. Like I'm not against that. It's happened before, more than once, and it's worked. And so I'm totally okay with that. Whichever way they want to go. I don't think it was handled very well here. And for me, the reason, there's a lot of reasons. The first is I didn't feel like the story was super well executed. I think it was overly convoluted for the type of movie that this is. And then I think that in terms of characterization, really Gemma gets the lion's share of things to do here, mm-hmm. and everyone else gets activity, but no arc.
Yes.
And so that's a problem. Megan gets a little bit of an arc here, but the arc is a little bit muddled. It feels to me like she wants something and then stops wanting the thing, and then suddenly is somewhere else in life without much of a impetus for it. So I'm not entirely sure that I like the execution of, Megan's role in the film. And then I think for me, it just felt a little overly long. It clocks in at 2 hours, right at 2 hours.
Yeah.
And I think it still could have cut an extra, we could have cut a half hour out.
Yeah. Wasn't the first film 90 minutes? Wasn't it pretty tight?
I remember it being pretty short.
That's what
I don't know
too.
off the top of my head, but
let me go find out.
But I remember it being tight. This felt a little lengthy. Jermaine Clement he plays a role in this that I feel like could probably have just been cut out.
I agree. I saw him and I was like, oh, because I love Jermaine Clement, but I knew immediately that his inclusion in this was just gonna be a drawn out thing. What should be a really small role given to a comedic actor and made into something.
It's one joke that's told for 30 minutes, 45 minutes,
102 minutes was the first Megan.
Okay. So fairly tight.
Hour and a half-ish.
And Jermaine Clement also sets a tone, it feels like, where when he comes in, it's oh, comedy, got it.
Right.
And then he's gone and it's okay, so not a comedy? But then it's oh, but kind of a comedy. But is it now an unintentional comedy? Or is it intentionally unintentional? And so there's a lot of that where I wasn't sure if they were aiming to be a schlocky B movie or if they were aiming for something more but hitting the schlock territory. I couldn't tell. And this is exemplified. The third act takes place primarily in one location. And that location felt very studio-y to me.
Yes.
Like shot in a small studio in a small room.
Yeah.
That's fairly bare.
Yeah.
And whatever. So like my mind kept going to like those 90s schlocky like sci-fi movies that were like a ripoff of something better.
Yeah. It had like a Austin Powers-esque like set,
Yeah.
Like there's just
or like
big vats and there's no desks, no stacks of paper,
Correct.
no like phones or fire extinguishers.
Design.
Yeah. It's not even like safety equipment.
Nothing. I kept thinking of, I don't know exactly what I'm picturing here, but like it felt like a Disney Channel original movie in that set, because it's like, okay, it's either like very Jet Jackson-y or I'm picking up on like, I forget, there was like a superhero one about a family of superheroes. I don't remember what it was called. It was probably something like Up and Away or something like that.
Might be it. Let me see. Up and Away, Dustin. Very good.
Up and Away. There you go. But like those Disney Channel original movies, it just kind of felt like that to me. So it felt very schlocky and like cheap. But what is that what they were going for? I don't know. Or was it unintentionally that way? Was I supposed to take it seriously? Because I couldn't tell, it felt hard to read in that way. Like I don't want to knock it if it's going for something and achieving the thing it's going for, but I also don't think it's fully going for that. So because I'm not sure, I have to bring it up, and it at least stuck with me in a negative way. There are some cool things here that happen. There's like something that feels very Malignant-ish. If you ever saw that movie, there's some stuff here that feels a little bit like it's like super stylized, like Edgar Wright-ish, but it only happens a couple of times. And then, like there are some things that happen that are really genuinely cool, and around it are things that aren't. Again, in that third act where it feels set-ish, there's, the Amelia character is kind of in one spot for a little while.
Yeah.
And where she is, again, it feels like really cheap. I don't know. It's just, it felt like I was watching a movie, like I wasn't in it anymore. And for your third act, you certainly don't want to have the audience drawn out of the film because it feels like they're watching something fake. Yeah. And that's how it felt to me. And whereas the first movie had a lot to say about like motherhood and a little bit to say about like, Katie's character, growing to, allow Gemma in, and like all these things. And then the arc that Katie goes through, like getting attached to Megan and being ripped from her and all those things. Like there's a lot going on story-wise and thematically. And it felt like this was grasping at that, but never actually achieved any of it on that level. Like there's a moment where Gemma is talking to Megan, and Megan waxes poetic about motherhood for a second, but the rest of the film isn't about that. And so it felt like a holdover from the first movie, or like like it just didn't belong. And so there's some of that. There's a kind of a cringy moment in there that my audience laughed at. I think maybe it was supposed to be funny. Yeah. But I have a high tolerance for cringe humor, and that didn't break the humor part. It was just like, it was very tone breaking to me.
It was long too.
And it was long.
It's like 25 seconds.
I think it was supposed to be tone breaking, but again, that's what I'm saying is like, was this film trying to break its own tone and look cheap and look like, was it trying for that? I don't know.
I think so. I mean, to me, it's all in how serious the Megan character is, in the first and the second film. Like the fact that that's like a really tongue in cheek kind of character, and not 100% sinister.
Sure.
To me, that's the tone. And of course, we won't spoil the identity of the villain in this, but the villain's performance in this is very understated and extremely even tempered, and in ways that wouldn't fit a serious film. And so in that sense, I feel like it is going for that kind of schlocky, tongue-in-cheek kind of thing. but pacing it with a long tone breaker like that, or just kind of shoving the story more full of plot than it is of, story or character,
Yeah.
is, probably, I mean, like we said, this is 20 minutes longer than the first film. And it, one of the reasons Megan is an enjoyable film is it doesn't overstay its welcome.
Yeah, totally.
And I wouldn't say this one overstays its welcome, but it is sort of like, it could have benefited from that,
Yeah. And it felt like there were things that were happening that, was just for the sake of it. Like, so like there's a moment in the first act where Gemma and Katie, their house gets broken into.
Mm-hmm.
And in that moment when it happened, it's like, oh, this is a thrilling little scene.
Yeah.
But then the reveal happens of what's actually happening. I'm like, but that's not how this would ever happen.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree.
By any stretch of the imagination. So I just felt like, we need an action scene. How can we justify it?
Yeah.
Oh, but we don't want it to actually be a villain. So here's the thing.
Yeah.
And so, or the villain. And so I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Again, you're taking me out. So there's a lot of stuff like that, or, like how they're even in this house to begin with. And then like the film wants to say something, I think, about AI, but it never truly says anything of importance. I don't know. It
certainly
just felt hollow.
Yeah. It ties the parenting lesson into an attitude towards AI, which is probably not accurate.
Yeah, probably not a good one.
Yeah.
I disagree with the message.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know. I mean, and obviously, like, without going to spoilers, you really can't see this movie without thinking of Terminator 2.
Yeah.
It is a very obvious inspiration.
Yeah.
And in those moments where it's very clear and it's on screen very prominently, I check out a little bit because I'm like, yeah, but this was done better before. So there's a lot of those moments in here where I'm able to, and I think a lot of people that are as checked out as I am by that time are going to start to pick it apart and say like, oh, this is from that. This is from that. It's a remix of this and that with that and dash of that. And that takes me out too. So I guess my review boils down to this. Minor problems begin to stack in the first act. And by the time the third rolls around and I'm supposed to be caring at my maximum percentile, I can't possibly, because I'm too far gone out of the film.
Yeah.
My brain is already thinking of how much, one, like I'm seeing this late at night. So I'm thinking of, okay, how many hours of sleep am I going to get tonight?
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking of, tomorrow's work day. I'm thinking of all the things that I should not be thinking about.
Yeah.
And most importantly, I'm thinking I can see the seams on this set. I can see the inspiration that the screenplay is grabbing from here, here, and here. And I'm no longer invested in the story. I'm now picking it apart.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where I ended up. So for me, it was a disappointment. Like we say it all the time, your mileage may vary. If you're into this and like loving the action of it, loving the performances, and you're loving all, great. I'm glad that you were able to do that. I couldn't, but I'm not going to sit here and tell somebody like, well, don't go see it because of this. I'm just going to say, for me, I was taken out, and by the time that third act rolled around, I couldn't get back in.
What's you want to talk about the box office for this?
Yeah, sure.
How's the thing I read said it opened 5th?
It opened 4th.
4th.
So it opened behind F1, How to Train Your Dragon, and Elio. So it opened to $10 million.
Yeah.
So I think projections were at 30, but it hit 10.
I think projections were at 20. The first movie made 30 its first weekend.
Is that right? Okay.
I believe so.
So it fell below expectations, and the article I read called it a franchise killer.
Oh.
That is likely not going to continue because they put too much money. I mean, it's still a low budget film, but they put too much money into it for this, for this type of return. And now, having said that, there is a spinoff that's already been shot. It's, being finished now, called Soulmate.
Yes.
And Soulmate with an 8.
Yes.
Number 8 mixed in. So that is happening. Theoretically, if that does well, this could, pick steam up again and save some of the loss that Megan 2.0 will probably endure. But that said, what Blumhouse kind of became famous for when they hit the scene was low budget or hardly any budget movies that would become sensations.
Yes.
And, Paranormal Activity or what have you style, where it's like, we're putting no money into this, but suddenly it's a huge phenomenon. And that was Blumhouse's model. So Megan kind of hit that mark for them. Yeah. It was very low budget and it hit pretty big, not huge, but big enough. And this being the loss that they didn't need may in fact kill the franchise. Now, I don't know. Obviously, like, I'm seeing Megan merchandise and I'm seeing that kind of thing. And we've talked about this before. Merchandise can save a franchise. If enough people go out and buy that Megan action figure, maybe.
Yeah.
But, I think time will tell.
Sorry, my son got woken up by my other son snoring again. This keeps happening. And whenever I put him back into bed, it's hard for me not to laugh and wake the other kid up because I'm talking to him. He comes out and I was like, Daddy! Oliver, help. He's doing that. And so I put him in bed. I'm tucking him in and Oliver's just going, it's so loud that it sounds like one time it sounded like legitimate growling. Just imagine waking up to like a beastly growl in the bed next to you. It's like, fuck.
That's funny.
Anyways. The first Megan made $180 million to a $12 million budget.
Yep.
Yeah. And this one wasn't too much higher of a budget. I think it says 15 to 25, but it is far short. It's far short of that so far.
Yeah. Worldwide's at 18. So we're, it may get there. We'll see.
We're at 10% of what the first film made.
Yeah.
So, well, interesting. Yeah. That makes sense though. I mean, that tracks. I wouldn't have expected it to do any better than any of those other things,
Sure.
I mean, that's a lot of, I don't want to say a lot of competition, but like, because it's not like Elio is competition for Megan 2.0, but it's sort of like.
No, I mean, really and truly, none of them are true competition.
I mean, the first one came out in January, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I think the problem is, they put it in summer and they shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, while none of those other films, Elio, Dragon, or F1 really hit the same niche market, those are films that people are going to want to see on the big screen pretty immediately. This is a we can wait for it kind of movie. So I don't know. Yeah.
Well, exercise discretion, listeners. If you, if you were so on the first Megan, you'll be so at best on this one. But if you really enjoyed the first Megan, you might like this, or you might not. I don't know.
Yep.
You can always wait. I mean, I liked the first Megan just fine, and I did not see it in theaters. So
sure.
Just your mileage may vary.
That's right.
Okay. See ya.
Oop, there it is.